Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today, I'm excited we get to talk about something other than trading card games. But don't click away. I think all this stuff is still applicable if you're a Magic the Gathering fan, or if you like this, talking about the store owning stuff. That's a lot of what we're going to talk about. Today, I'm going to share with you, we're kind of expanding into a different era or a different purchasing or different product at Game Grove, both online at gamegrove.gg as well in store. We're hopping into some retro video games. I want to talk to you about why we are doing this. And I just want to share it with you and talk about diversity and kind of diversifying product and all that stuff. So, this is, listen, a complete inbox. Actually, that one's just the box for Yoshi's World. That one's complete inbox. Donkey Kong Country, Super Nintendo, my favorite retro game console of all time. Donkey Kong Country, probably one of my favorite games. We even do the GameCube stuff. We've got the N64 and NES, all sorts of stuff. And then in store, we also have over here a place where people can just hang out and play the games. And this has been really cool. This is like, parents come in, they just stand here with their kids and they play Super Mario. A lot of fun. We set it up with different games as well. So I want to talk a little bit about why. Why does a game store need a difference in product? Why can't we just have Magic the Gathering? What does that work? Well, I don't know about you. I don't know about your game store. I don't know about you, you as a business owner or whatever. But Magic is not enough to run this whole thing. Magic would probably be enough for me to keep the lights on, pay my employees, and run the business. I'm not sure that Magic would be enough for me to actually become profitable, pay myself, and actually grow the business. I think maybe it's just my market in terms of I'm in West Virginia. I'm not in a major, huge city, but the cost basis on Magic is so high, and the online sales kind of drive a lot of stuff down. And there's so much competition on buying singles and all this stuff that Magic is great, and it keeps the lights on, and it's awesome. But just Magic is not enough to run a local card shop. So this is why we do a ton of Pokemon. This is why we have Lorcana. Obviously, you guys know on the channel, I'm a huge fan of sorcery, and that's been really cool, both locally and online. But as I've been processing through what is next, and I'm always kind of asking the question, where am I, where do I want to go, and what is next for me to kind of get there in my life, I started going back to retro video games. And a little context for you, when I was in college, actually when I graduated from high school, my senior year of high school, I started going to yard sales, and I just found original Zelda, the gold cart Zelda. I found it at a yard sale, and I bought it for $2 at a yard sale. I was like, sure, we'll see what happens. I went home, I checked on eBay, and that thing was selling for $50 on eBay. And I was like, holy crap, I just made $45. And as a high schooler in, 2010, that was a lot of money to me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I started going around to all the yard sales and the flea markets. I got up every, Saturday mornings at 6:30 in the morning to go to the flea market. And I started buying retro games and selling them on eBay. And flash forward, 4, 5, 6 years, that actually paid for a whole semester and a half of college. It actually allowed me to start a photography business. I sold off a bunch of my own collection and started a photography business that then, flourished into this. This is what the YouTube channel came from, was that kind of history of learning how to sell things on eBay, the photography stuff. Anyway, long story short, this was a no-brainer for me to hop into the retro game stuff. And the big reason for this is, when you have a Magic, this week, I will spend like 20 to 30 grand on Magic the Gathering. I will not have 20 to 30 grand leave in Magic the Gathering. I will overspend this week on a new Magic the Gathering set with Murders at Carlisle Manor. If I don't have other products and other customers coming in, that is all risk. And so for me, having different customers, having different products, having different communities of people gathering in this same space works really well. It allows me to take increased risk on things because the other things absorb some of the risk and the, kind of the offsets the risk that I have to take elsewhere. And so if you're thinking, whether you own a store or whether you do eBay or whether you do whatever, you just do TCG Player, just remember that you can learn and grow in different avenues and you can take different risks because it creates a different community of people that are purchasing things from you, and that's a big win. And so that's what I want you guys to gain from this, is the idea that just laser focusing on one product. If you are just selling on TCG Player, right, that's a big thing. I always encourage people on this channel, get to level 4 on TCG Player. Everybody who watches this channel likes trading cards. If you don't have a way to sell your cards, you should be working on that and getting on TCG Player to do that. But don't just focus on Magic the Gathering. There is so much opportunity out there for you to learn and grow in these other games and in these other things that if you only focus on Magic the Gathering, when Magic goes into a into a downturn, when the market turns or sets bad, it's going to completely wreck you. And as a store, I've seen this. I've seen a bad Magic set come out and it completely wreck other stores. But by having the diversity of having Pokemon and having retro games and sorcery and having, Lorcana, it allows me to do different things. And when one thing goes bad, the other things, are able to kind of hold it up. So that's really important. So here's kind of my attitude on why retro games, right? Like, why did I choose to go with retro games? Well, number one, I absolutely love, I love retro games. I like video games. I don't have a ton of time to play video games anymore, but when I do get to play video games, there's nothing more fun to me than like playing Super Mario World, right? Like there's nothing more fun to me than playing the retro games, the RPGs and that kind of stuff. Like that is my, it's nostalgic for me and I really like them. And because I like them, two things happen with that. Because I like them, I know them, right? And so the risk level is lower, which is a huge thing. But also because I like them, if I get stuck with them, I'm also just okay with it, right? This was a big thing when I was, before I had the business, when it was just kind of me buying, selling, and trading stuff as an individual. A big thing for me was I always asked the question before I bought something. If I can't sell that, do I want it? If I can't move it, if I can't make a profit off it, if I have to lose money on it, would I rather just keep it and would I enjoy it? And if the answer was yes, then I would take the risk because the failure of the risk is that I still just have something that I like. And so that's the first kind of question mark for me was, do I know it? And am I okay with keeping it? Anything in that case, I'm happy. We got a Sega, what is that? Sega Saturn? No, Sega Dreamcast. How freaking cool would it be to play wacky races with my kids and enjoy that? Like, it's just like a cool thing. The second kind of question I always ask is, does it have a market, right? So it's one thing if I want it or whatever, but does it have a market? And if you look on eBay, man, retro games pumping. Like retro games are doing really, really well. I used to have this fear, they're coming out with the mini Super Nintendo. They're coming out with the mini NES. They're coming out, everything is on the Switch and it's all ROMs and whatever. That's all fair and true. But man, people really like the original hardware that flicks on. It makes that noise when you turn it on or off, and you gotta blow in the cartridges, and people really like that nostalgia, and really they like teaching their kids that stuff. And so it's really cool to see people come into the store, and that market is alive in it as well. And there's also some really great YouTube channels that are just doing this. This is another reason I knew that it was a possibility, and one of the reasons I wanted it to be online. Again, you can go to gamegrove.gg. You can see our whole inventory of games is up there on gamegrove.gg, is because other people are doing just this. Just like I have created a business, and this is another thing I always look at, just like I created this kind of business on YouTube and with customers, all around the country, all around the world, there are people who are doing exactly what I did with cards and what, Rudy does with cards and what other people do with cards, and they're doing it with retro games. And so it shows that there's a market for something. And like, to me, that's a big sign of, hop in, take the risk, because there is a market and there is an out on it. And then, the last thing here, and my encouragement to you, is that every decision like this, and this goes back to this idea of risk, every decision like this comes with risk. And, you know, I put a lot of capital into these games. When somebody walks in the store, they've got a box of games and they walk out with hundreds of dollars for it. That is risk that I take as a business. And this is a big thing I'm trying to hone in on the channel, and I want to encourage you all to do, is to take calculated risks. Everything that I've learned in the last 3 years, I've only been doing this for 3 years. I'm not a pro. I'm not amazing at it. There's better YouTubers out there. There's better Magic the Gathering YouTubers out there. There's better business owners in West Virginia, here in my town. Like, there's better people in this. But one of the things I've learned about in the last 3 years is whenever I'm faced with this idea of should I take risk, if I calculate that risk and I know it won't collapse me, and I take that risk, it has always worked out in my favor. There's this idea in the world where, you know, once you've kind of gotten further, you start not taking risks because you don't want to lose what you've gained. And I feel that every single day. I feel that idea of like, man, I can't take too much risk because what if I can't accomplish it? And one of the things I've learned is to calculate your risk so that you take the leap, and if you fall, you don't collapse yourself. You calculate the risk to make sure that when you jump across, you know, let's pretend that there's a little bridge that you're trying to jump across, or a little, you know, gap that you're trying to jump across. When you try to jump across the gap, if you don't make it, you got to kind of factor your risk level in and say, well, at least if I don't make it, I'm not going to collapse. But if you don't take the risk at all, you're just stuck wherever you are. And so you got to learn to take the risk and calculate it so that when you fail, it doesn't collapse you, but you can't be so afraid to take the risk that you don't grow and you don't move forward. So again, encouragement to you, if you are somebody that's just selling stuff, reach out to people in your local area. Don't just get locked into Magic the Gathering. Don't just get locked into card games. There's a ton of retro video games in your area that are sitting in basements, that are you know, at the pawn shop, that are at the stretch yourself and put yourself in a place to find those little niches of the world that are able to collect and buy and sell and trade and enjoy that. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Just wanted to show that off and share that with you. If you're looking for retro games, you can head on over to GameGrove.gg. We price everything basically based on eBay last sold. You know, obviously I don't have to pay the eBay fees, so the prices should be pretty good. Let me know what you think. I don't know if this video is going to do great or bad. I just wanted to share with you. I'm excited about it. So have yourself a great day. Be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.